Okay, so that was a bit of a diversion. Apologies for that. But I think it gets the point across. What I probably should have done is just printed out the value rather than tried to actually inject a header, which was like a lot more work than we really needed to do, since we don't need to do that at all. But who cares? Doesn't matter. It's done now. Once again, I'll give a bit of a hint about where you can skip to in the videos so that you don't have to watch that if you don't want to. So yeah, that's pretty good. We've got our kind of like little stateful middleware, and I think we might like reuse that concept to track some metrics maybe later on. The only thing I think that we might want to consider is that I think Scotty provides at least some kind of like monad transformer where you can maybe have like an application state or something like that. Although now that I remember, I think we wanted to avoid doing anything Scotty specific so that this is portable between Y applications. So maybe we've taken the right approach by kind of manually managing our state. Yeah, so we'll have a fancy data type for mucking around with state and storing it and reflecting all the things we care about with regards to the metrics, and then we'll just do pretty much what we did there, except I think we kind of want to have like a pair of routes almost, so like, or like a rather than kind of injecting into the header, we want to have a kind of new route where you can kind of request the WebSocket from, and then it will kind of serve the state to that. Now that brings us conveniently to the next point, right? So we have I think done stateful middleware. So now it's time to have a look at WebSockets. So this is unfamiliar territory for me. I've done some WebSocket stuff before in like whatever, Elm and Rails, but I've never really tried to do anything terribly low level there. So let's have a little peruse of the internet and see if there's something written about how to do WebSockets in Haskell. Oops, Haskell. Wow, there's a package. Network.websockets. There's a WebSocket clients. There's WebSocket snap. Is there WebSockets? Is there Y WebSockets? That's what I want. That would be good. Y WebSockets. Amazing. Look at that. Wow, great. Upgrade a WebSockets server app to a Y application. Cool. Uses a given backup application. Cool. What the heck is a server app? A server app. What's that? Where's that defined? Oh, that's in WebSockets. Cool. Interesting, interesting. Yes. Okay. Maybe we'll just like browse around a little bit and take some notes. So it looks like Y WebSockets. That will provide us WebSocket handler with app fallback. Great. WebSocket application defined in, what was it? Network.websockets. That's defined there. Is that enough? What was the other stuff I opened? Well, there's a client, but I don't think we need that. Maybe we'll use that for testing. I think we'll ignore that for now. Yeah, network.websockets. I mean, wow, it's a lot of stuff here. Maybe there's a little homepage or something. Where I can get a quick introduction to doing this as a homepage. There's a GitHub page. Let's look at the homepage. Interesting. Well, yes, interesting. So maybe this is what they call their kind of WebSocket application is one of these. Yeah, seems pretty good. Yeah, so to my understanding, like the way these WebSockets work is that it'll be like an old school socket almost. So you can kind of connect to it and have a long running process keep sending data down it. And then like maybe there's some error handlers or something, but maybe we'll ignore the error handling for now in the interest of saving time. Cool. And we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Also, not 100% sure what the client's going to look like for this, but that doesn't matter. Let's make a new module, and I will just call it socket test or something. Great. And I should then install WebSockets, I guess. I haven't built this in a while, so probably it'll complain about all sorts of missing packages. Yep. Let's add them. HTTP types, Y, byte string. This usual workflow I use is to kind of just do REPL development for a while, kind of building up this list of packages that aren't actually explicitly referenced until I've kind of decided I actually want them. And then I whack them in the package definition. I know not many people seem to do that except me, but I don't hate it doing it that way. So yeah, works for me. Yeah, our dependencies aren't getting too crazy yet. So let's have a look. Our socket test. Yep. I think we'll just leave that as is for now. We'll extend that later. And now let's have a look at that Y WebSockets again. Maybe I'll just have a quick look at this homepage, GitHub homepage. Yeah, they just say the same thing. So over here. This looks pretty good. Interesting, interesting. So let's make another one. We'll call it Y WebSocket. We'll call it Y. To make things consistent, I'll just call it Y socket test. And what am I missing? I think that's it. Where's this WebSockets all come from? Oh yeah. Cool. Let's put that in. And we have our code compiling. So really these just are gonna like serve as references. And we'll do the real deal somewhere else. What will we do? Also, switch back to the violin concerto. I don't want to listen to that. I want to listen to more piano. So we'll start from the beginning of Piano Concerto number 1. Which is brilliant. So. What now? What do we want to do? I think in terms of like pseudocode, what we want to do is the following. First of all, we want to kind of do this WebSocket OR. And then kind of on the first argument of that, we want our WebSocket app. And on the right hand side, we want our API. And then in terms of our WebSocket app, we want that to basically deal with our state. So we can maybe reuse kind of our middleware or what we did in the middleware. We might not be able to keep it in exactly the same format because I'm not 100% sure how this stuff works in terms of middleware yet. Maybe I'll have another quick look at this, right? So, I mean, it seems like basically in its curried form, it is middleware, which sounds pretty good. So if instead of, let's do another one. So this one I'll define as app2. My cat is tearing the chair apart. I'll just stop her doing that. Okay. If I had the webcam hooked up, you'd see a fluffy cat looking very proud of herself for having clawed at the chair. So I'll give her a pat, even though that's a very bad thing for her to do. And let her maybe do something else now. Great. So this second one, I think what I want to do is essentially, rather than have this backup app defined inline, I want to pass it in as an argument, which is easy enough. And then that becomes application to application, and then that becomes middleware. Maybe. It does. So that's good news. So I think then what I want to do is I want to define my kind of like new middleware as that, and then I want to use middleware within main app. Sound like a plan? I think so. I think so. So let's just see if we can just define or use one of these trivial ones, maybe even app2. We'll just literally just use it and see how that goes. So in my main, I want to import WSOC test. Usually I like to kind of organize my imports a bit better. I usually kind of split them into my ones and like package ones, even though I don't know anyone else who does it that way, but I find it's nice because then it's like you can easily see which ones you can kind of explore in the current source code. But I know some of the formatters, new recent formatters, do it a bit differently, but that's kind of how I like to do it. But I'll do it however a project does it if I'm in someone else's project. Great. So, no worries. Let's add a new middleware. And we will call it app2, I think it was called. There we are. Too easy. Works. No one predicted that. And so now we want to like test that we can actually use this middleware. Let's test it from the test page, why not? And I think if I was clever enough, maybe that file is going to be read every time someone requests the page, so I'll have a very nice cycle. I can just spin up my server and edit the page, and maybe that will just work. Let's find out. Resources, stats. So, localhost 3000, 4000 is my blog, I think. Gotta run the thing. There it is, 404. Very convenient. That is working. So now, if I have my facts straight, this will now, not alert. Fantastic. So this is a very neat little workflow. I can just edit my HTML right here, and then we're good to go. But unfortunately, how to use WebSockets from vanilla JavaScript. Now hopefully this isn't too crazy. Well, that looks good. Yeah. What's the protocol mean here? Is protocol 1 a real protocol? don't know. Alright, well, let's try it. I don't think I had a special route. So, does WSS mean secure? Because I don't have secure. It does. So I just want WS. And then let's see. See what that does. Debugger? No. Console. Well, it didn't seem to throw any errors. Maybe the network. Request, yeah, response. I don't know what any of that means. I mean, that looks pretty good. So, cool. Let's try writing some data, or let's try doing something with it. So like an on receive or something like that. Yeah, cool. You can send data. Not quite sure what that's going to do. And then I think it was maybe used as the whatever. Something happened, I remember, in the example application. So yeah. So rather than just kind of do it inline, I guess you want to have this on open. That kind of makes sense. Cool. And then, I mean, we really don't care about sending stuff, so let's not worry about that. Receiving is what we want. Oh, and I see. So you don't kind of do that in the same on open, or do you? I think not, given the naming convention. Yeah. Maybe what we'll do here is, yeah, let's just log it to the console. Why not? That sounds good. And then over here, God, what's the shortcut key in Safari? I haven't installed my preferred browsers yet. So it is Shift Apple C. It is not Shift Apple C. Oh yes, it is. Great, console. So let's reroute. Hello client. Great. Looks good. Now, is that actually what we should be seeing? So, it is. Oh yes, receive data. So we're not really doing anything with the data. Not quite sure exactly the pattern that we should be using here, but I'm just gonna kind of like cargo cult it, and then we'll maybe like dive into best practices later. So I think that is fine. Who knows? I don't think it uses any kind of typed response necessarily. I think you just assume that. So I should be able to simply serialize some JSON or whatever to represent our metrics. So I think this is done. Do I need to test anything else? I think we've got our middleware. Maybe I will also next have a think about actually combining our stateful middleware with our WebSocket middleware, and then that way we should be able to be basically ready to then start looking at how to do the metrics. Alright, I'll stop now and we'll resume and have a look at that.